tens of thousands of Africans leave villages like this in Ghana, Nigeria, the Ivory Coast, all around this region, and set off across the Sahara Desert to get to the Mediterranean Sea, where they embark on what's one of the most dangerous migration routes in the world. This is the story of just one of them. His name, Justica Amin. "When I'm in my uncle's home," said Justice, "it's like the spirits are stepping on me. During the day, when he's not there, I can breathe. But at night, when I'm sleeping close to him, there are not just people in that room." This is where it all started. This is where he saw the maps of the world, and he saw Great Britain, and he thought, that's where I want to go. "Little strong man," a voice shouted over the balcony. "Why do your legs move so quickly around a football that turned to stone on the way to school?" Justice slowed and walked the last few meters across the sand, taking care to show he was in no hurry. The school occupied the first floor of a narrow brick building, 4 classrooms long and 1 deep. There was no glass in the windows, just slatted wooden shutters, which spent most of the year wide open, so any movement of air could pass straight through. But most of the time, the rooms were still and humid and smelt of damp clothes. There was a single step up to the platform, beneath which the men deposited their shoes and then congregated in one corner around the tea maker. He boiled and reboiled the tea, stirred in mountains of sugar, poured it from a great height into a small pot, boiled it again so that it frothed yellow, and then, when he was happy it was rid of its bitterness, he poured it into shot glasses, which were passed around on a silver tray. It was green tea, but when it was prepared this way, it was called a taya. The men sat back and discussed the issues of the day. Son, okay. So I'm here because of my friend Justica Amin, because he travelled from here and went up across the Sahara, and then went to Libya, and then he got on a boat and tried to get across to Europe and to England. And the boat was taking on water, so the boat was starting to sink. And there were 27 people on it. And as it started to sink, they saw a fishing net, and they all jumped onto the fishing net. And they hung on to it for 2 days. Yeah.
2 days?
Yeah.
So he died?
No, he didn't die. He's alive. He's alive.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
The hut where Justice used to live is a single room, no water, no electricity, and an uncle who did his work in secret. Then the chicken was in the air, swinging by its throat. Tuna, take, tuna, take. It made such a fuss, some of the candles were blown out. His uncle pressed the crest and squeezed the head so small it seemed like it belonged to a snake. Then with the other hand, he grabbed a wing and threw the body into a spin. It turned several times so that its neck was pleated like a rope. The idol didn't have long to wait. The head came away with a sharp tug. So this is where Justice used to come and stay here when he'd fallen out with his uncle, who was a medicine man. He used to run away to his friend's house and he used to live here. This man's got 30 children. The house had an interior courtyard open to the stars, and from which led uneven steps upwards and downwards, crumbling arches and dark tunnels. Then there were the walkways. They circled high above the courtyard, resting on precarious pillars and hung with clothing, pots and pans, prayer mats, shoes and kettles. Children hurtled through the corridors, chickens pecked the earth floor, women prepared fires which laced the entire building with the smell of burning wood. In 2006, he headed off, travelling thousands of miles across the Sahara, sometimes on foot or hitching lifts with desert trucks. It's a dangerous route. Hundreds die in a sea of sand before they even reach the coast. Both Justica Amin and Atiku lived and worked in this area here to try and raise the money for the crossing to Europe. Justice was chopping the heads off goat carcasses just to try and scavenge a tiny little bit of meat to sell to passers-by. Atiku was lugging big bags of sand around here, both of them just scraping a living so they could pay the people smugglers. You should tell one person you trust in case something goes wrong, but no one else should know until you're there. The other men had stopped talking now and listened to Razak. When you've chosen that person, the one you trust, leave your mobile phone number with them. Leave your parents' address too. If you have a photo, well, that's good. It means we can send it back to your home. If your mother and father had no pictures of you before, they can look at it and pray. This is where the sea crossing begins. It goes on like this for 40 kilometres. Plenty of space for the people smugglers to bring the migrants down here by cover of night, launch them off in those small wooden boats and head them towards the Italian island of Lampedusa or sometimes to Malta, the first steps into Europe. Justice was cooking rice and tomato stew in the tin huts when Seydou arrived with the news. Many men sailed last night, he said, hurrying inside and dragging out a mattress. There are people missing from every workshop in Gurji, 2 from the butchering block, more from the market. Whenever there was talk of departures, Justice found himself drawing a deep, involuntary breath, like at Catron when he heard the keys in the metal door. Razak says the pickup trucks were coming and going all night. They were lucky not to get caught. It was a Friday evening, after Maghrib prayer, when it finally happened. This night it should be possible. It was the voice of the man in the orange sunglasses. The weather is good, the ship is available. You should prepare to travel.